Welcome to Locked On Warriors. On today's show, we recap Golden State's win over the Oklahoma City Thunder last night and what to make about Steph Curry not playing well and the Warriors still being undefeated. All of that's coming up next.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to a Wednesday edition of Locked On Warriors. I'm Wes Goldberg. Thank you for listening to Locked On Warriors, the only podcast bringing you the latest on the Golden State Warriors every day, Monday through Friday. However you may be listening on YouTube or on Odyssey or on your favorite podcast app, thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Gotta have a quick show for you today, just recapping last night's win over the Thunder. But before we get to that, I do encourage you to check out the podcast that we released before this one. Bram Hillsman of the Warriors Huddle podcast and Connor Letourneau from the San Francisco Chronicle joined me to break down a bunch of things, big picture on the Warriors, and then we play a fun game predicting what the Warriors look like in 2025, 5 years from now. So, or 4 years from now, whatever that is. So I definitely encourage you, because that actually came out right during the game. You know, we had to record late for a variety of scheduling reasons. So if you haven't gotten a chance to listen to that, please do that after we get you this recap and reaction to this Thunder win. But it was a close game for the Warriors there. You know, I got done recording that pod with Bram and Connor. I was like, oh yeah, Warriors undefeated, looking good, championship expectations or bust, all this stuff that we were talking about. And then the Warriors trail by 11 to the Thunder, who are trying to lose games, by the way, by halftime. But the Warriors go on a 22-1 run between the third and the fourth quarters. Damian Lee, Andrew Wiggins, shout out to them. Really good games. Get to all that here in a minute. But Steph has not played well. Let's just say it. Steph has not played well. The Warriors are undefeated, and Steph Curry has not played well. Now, I realize that he is tied for third in the NBA in points per game with 29 points per game. But you take away that 45-point outlier against the Clippers, and I don't mean it's an outlier for Steph. You expect more 45-point games than you do poor shooting games like he's had in the other three of the Warriors' other four games. But for this sample, for this four-game sample, it is indeed an outlier. You take that out, and he's not averaging 29 points per game. He is not tied for third in scoring in this young NBA season. You take out that 45-point game against the Clippers, and Steph Curry, here are splits. 34.4% shooting overall, 31.2% shooting from three-point range, 23.7 points per game. That's not good. And a lot of the talk that I have been seeing on Twitter, sports radio, things like that, is, hey, the Warriors are 4-0. The Warriors have not lost a game, and Steph hasn't played well. So imagine what they could be when Steph is playing well. Basketball doesn't really work like that, okay? It's not like when Steph is scoring 45, all of a sudden Damian Lee is still giving you 20 points off the bench, and Jordan Poole is still playing well, and Andrew Wiggins is still giving you 21 points in an efficient shooting night, and Draymond Green is still giving you 8 to 10 points. It doesn't work that way. Basketball doesn't work that way. We saw that in the Clippers game. Just look at what Steph did versus the rest of the bench. Now, I'm not saying that when Steph plays well, nobody else can play well. That's certainly not the case, and that's one of the things that makes Steph so great is when he plays well, Klay Thompson can play well, Draymond Green can play well, Kevin Durant can play well, players on this roster can play well. And I'm not saying that Steph is washed, okay? I'm just saying slow your roll on this. Hey, when Steph comes back, it's not like the Warriors could be more undefeated, okay? They're 4-0, all right? They are. Now, they've got this 8-game homestand coming up. Hopefully, Steph can get on track because all this stuff is fun and it's nice. And look, overall, all in all, it's a positive thing. But they do, I'm interested to see what it all looks like when Steph is playing the way we expect him to play. Now, he was a plus 15 last night in Oklahoma City. Second behind only Damian Lee, who was a plus 16. Big part of that run that ended up winning the game for them, swinging the game for them. So really all I'm trying to say here is that I don't know that Steph playing well makes the Warriors better, obviously. but it doesn't work as simply as, hey, just add Steph's points to whatever the rest of this supporting cast is doing. It's just basketball doesn't work that way. So let's just slow our roll on that. Last night, the reason Steph didn't play well was one man, Lou Dort, okay? Lou Dort pretty much kept Steph Curry in check. And I read the field goal percentages. The field goal percentages are going to elevate. They are going to climb the more Steph shoots, okay? We know this, all right? It's going to happen. The key in defending Steph is to not let him shoot. And that's what Lou Dort is really good at. And that's what a guy like Davion Mitchell, the game before, is also very good at. Both of them probably the best two on-ball defenders in the NBA, okay? Lou Dort guarded Steph for 70% of the game last night. Lou Dort held Steph to just 5 field goal attempts on 48 or on about a little bit more than 48 possessions. That's including partial possessions, when Dort starts on Steph, maybe gets switched off of him. So it's 48.4 possessions plus partial possessions. All in all, guarded Steph for 8 minutes and 45 seconds of Steph's 32 minutes, which is a lot of time. Steph got off just 5 field goal attempts in that time. For the game, Steph shot just 14 times. Now, you could say, hey, well, Steve Kerr took him out early in the first quarter. He only played 32 minutes versus his usual 36 minutes as they're trying to manage his minutes. Damian Lee had it going. Andrew Wiggins had it going, so he's being unselfish. All that stuff might be true. But if Steph is taking just 14 shots, the same amount that Damian Lee took, the same amount that Jordan Poole took, less than Andrew Wiggins, that's not the way things are planned in Golden State, okay? That's all I'm saying. Now you might come at me as an anti-Steph thing. This is not an anti-Steph thing. The Warriors lose games like this last year. If Steph can't go, they lose. Period. End of story. They needed him to score 50 points a game down the stretch last year. This team is much deeper. It's much better overall than that. And I think teams are starting to figure that out because they are locking in on Steph like Lou Dort is, like the Sacramento Kings did. And these other guys are starting to beat you. And that's why Steph could still be a plus 15 despite a modest night from him. He's still the leading scorer on the team, 23 points. But those other guys really did step up. All right. Going to talk about those other guys here in a minute. Let's talk about SweatBlock. Look, guys, there's a few things in life that just aren't fun to talk about, but I got the script right here. We're going to talk about it anyway. It's called sweat. Some of you may have dealt with sweat. I know I have in my life sweat before. When I speak in public, sometimes I sweat through my shirt. Now, listen, I know this isn't life and death, and there are much worse problems in the world to deal with, but let's be honest. In the moment, sweating through your shirt feels like it's a really big deal. It's embarrassing. Maybe you're making an important speech. Maybe you're on a first date. Maybe you're meeting with friends, and now you're uncomfortable. You're embarrassed. You're hiding your sweat, your armpits, all that stuff. That's why I use SweatBlock antiperspirant wipes. I just don't want to deal with that stuff. SweatBlock is stronger and more effective than most clinical antiperspirants. You simply apply it a night before bed, and then the next morning you wake up, wash, and go about your day without worrying about sweat. That's guaranteed. And I know this is going to sound too good to be true because, of course, we're human and we sweat. But I literally only have to use SweatBlock once or twice a week. It keeps me dry the entire time. No more pitting out. No more picking my shirts based on which one's going to hide the sweat better. If you're someone who loves dealing with this, you have to check out SweatBlock. Get it today for 20% off at sweatblock.com with the promo code LOCKEDON or at Amazon and CVS. It's time to talk about our friends at Built Bar. As you know, Built Bar has a ton of great flavors. They have coconut, cherry barcia, raspberry, mint brownie, double chocolate, salted caramel, strawberry, orange, cookies and cream, and German chocolate. And not only are these Built Bar flavors the best tasting, they're healthy too. Check out these macros. 17 to 18 grams of protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Amazing flavors, all tasty, all healthy. I'm telling you guys, you've heard me talk about Built Bar a countless amount of times. You guys tweet at me about Built Bar all the time. We discuss Built Bar on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But look, it's not a joke, guys. This is the real deal. This is good stuff. If you need a protein bar, then check out Built Bar if you haven't already. It's great for after a workout, a snack on the go. I'm telling you guys, I make these. I do this ad read countless times a week, but I really do use this product and eat Built Bars all the time. They taste great. And like I said, they are perfect for my lifestyle and my eating habits as well. So here's our offer. Go to built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15. You're going to get 15% off on your order. Again, use that promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Try them out. All right. Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Like I said, going to make this a quick little recap because I really do want to encourage everybody. I gave you a little bit of a longer show with Bram and Connor, so I want to just kind of push you guys over there because, look, these game recaps are fun, but I think that was more fun. All right, the Warriors make that big 22-1 run between the third and the fourth quarter, and I just want to point a few things out about it. Damian Lee, 20 points in 26 minutes, really gave the Warriors the spark they needed during that run, but also Andrew Wiggins. 21 points on 9 for 17 shooting, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, a block. I thought he was awesome. And I've talked about Andrew Wiggins' defense recently. I think after that Sacramento Kings game. Tonight, I really felt like, or last night I should say, I really felt like Wiggins was the aggressor on offense when the Warriors needed him to be. And we just, quite frankly, don't see that a ton from Wiggins, right? He doesn't really pick his spots. The spots sort of just come to him, right? He's very much of a take what the defense gives you, very much of an Alex Smith type of quarterback. You know what I mean? He's not really pushing the issue. That was not the case last night. Wiggins recognized that the Warriors needed something, and he stepped up in that moment. And that's what the Warriors are going to need from Andrew Wiggins going forward. They don't need him to be this leading scorer every night. They don't need him to be the second best scorer every night. That could be Jordan Poole. That could be Damian Lee. That could be Klay Thompson when he comes back. It doesn't matter. It could be Draymond Green some nights. Who knows? But every once in a while, someone's got to step up. Sometimes it's going to be Jordan. Sometimes it's going to be Damian. You know what? Last night, it was Damian. It was also Andrew Wiggins. And I thought Damian Lee he went 4 for 7 from three-point range, made his shots. He was very, very good, not taking anything away from Damian Lee, very opportunistic. But Wiggins made stuff happen for himself. And there was a couple of possessions in that second half during that run where Wiggins would bring the ball up, and instead of just passing it to another player, he would call for a screen. Somebody would call a screen, and he would either use it, reject it, get to the basket, finish through contact, and he just did it over and over again because there was a recognition that, hey, listen, this Oklahoma City Thunder is a bunch of scrubs, and I'm a former number 1 pick who's got more athleticism than anybody else on the floor right now. I should be able to do this. And then he did it. And that was great to see from a guy who has been accused of not being able to look. He did go 0 for 5 from three-point range, but I don't even care about that. I don't care. I'm glad he took 5 threes and kept missing them. I'm glad he was taking his shots because that means that there was a recognition that something had to give, that he needed to do something. And he was a big reason why the Warriors outscored the Thunder in that third quarter, 33-17, why the Warriors outscored the Thunder in that fourth quarter, 25-22, and put that game away. Okay? So it was a good game from Andrew Wiggins. I just wanted to point that out, and the Warriors need more of that. Okay? All right. That'll do it for today. Remember to get your questions in for what will be my final mailbag as your host of Locked On Warriors. You can do that by leaving a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, and then you leave your question in the review. And then, of course, you can always leave a comment and a question on YouTube. You can reach me on Twitter at WC Goldberg. Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd hosts the number 1 daily fantasy basketball show on the planet. It's free and it's available on all platforms.